I never thought my own mother would call me a worthless failure. Those words hit me like a punch to the gut, burning into my brain as I stared at my phone frozen in my office chair. Diane. My mom sent a text meant for my sister Courtney. Not me, but there it was, glaring on my screen. Lauren's such a disappointment, always working, no family, just a worthless failure. For years, I'd paid every dime for the $750,000 house they lived in, mortgage, utilities, even their grocery bills, while they contributed nothing. I didn't scream or cry or throw my phone across the room. I just sat there, heart pounding, and made a decision. 1 week later, I put that house on the market and started packing for Austin. I was done carrying them, done begging for their approval. Mom wanted to call me worthless, fine. She could face the consequences of her words alone. It was a Thursday afternoon, and I was wrapping up a project at my tech firm in Seattle, where I'd been a project manager for 6 years. My desk was a mess of sticky notes and coffee cups, but I'd just nailed a deadline for a major client, and my boss Michelle had texted me a thumbs-up emoji, her version of high praise. I was about to head home when my phone buzzed with Mom's text. I thought it was about dinner plans or another one of her endless requests, like fixing the dishwasher or paying for Dad's car insurance. Instead, it was that message sent to me by mistake, meant for Courtney, who'd always been Mom's golden child. My hands shook as I read it again, each word slicing deeper. Worthless, failure, disappointment. I'd spent my entire adult life proving I wasn't those things, working 60-hour weeks, climbing the ladder, buying that house so my parents wouldn't end up on the street after Dad's landscaping business tanked for the 3rd time. And this was what Mom thought of me. I locked my phone and leaned back, staring at the ceiling, trying to breathe through the rage boiling in my chest. For 3 years, I'd let Mom and Dad, Diane and Greg, live in my house, a 4-bedroom place in a nice Seattle suburb, without asking for a cent. I paid the mortgage $2,500 a month, plus electricity, water, internet, and groceries, which ran another $800. I even covered their cell phones and Dad's truck repairs, another $1,500 last year alone. They'd moved in after Dad's latest business failure, promising it was temporary, just until they got back on their feet. Temporary turned into 3 years, with Mom volunteering at the community center and Dad tinkering in the garage, claiming he was networking for jobs that never materialized. Meanwhile, I was the one grinding, skipping vacations, canceling dates, pouring every dollar and minute into keeping them comfortable. And Courtney. My older sister, 35, married to Kyle with 3 kids, was Mom's pride and joy. Courtney hadn't worked a steady job since her early 20s, bouncing between part-time gigs while Kyle's construction company kept them afloat. Every Sunday, she'd bring her kids, Jordan, Mackenzie, and Alyssa, over for family dinner, and Mom would light up hugging them, praising Courtney's beautiful family. I'd sit there passing the mashed potatoes, barely noticed, even though I'd paid for the food on the table. "There's my girl," Mom would say to Courtney, while I got a half-hearted thanks for hosting Lauren. It stung every time, but I swallowed it, convincing myself it was my job as the single successful daughter to take care of everyone. I'd built a life most people would envy, a 6-figure salary, a corner office, a house I'd dreamed of since college, but none of it mattered to Mom. To her, I was nothing because I didn't have a husband or kids like Courtney. That text changed everything. I could have called Mom right then, screamed at her, demanded an explanation, but what would that solve? She'd deny it, cry, turn it around on me like she always did. I'd seen it before when I asked why she missed my college graduation to attend Courtney's baby shower. She'd sobbed about how overwhelmed she was, making me feel guilty for even bringing it up. No confronting her would just trap me in her drama. Instead, I opened my laptop and started searching for real estate agents in Seattle. My house was in my name alone, every payment made from my account. If Mom thought I was worthless, she didn't get to live in my home anymore. I wasn't just hurt, I was done. I called Vanessa, my best friend since high school, who'd been telling me for years to stop letting my parents walk all over me. "Lauren, get over here," she said when I told her about the text, her voice sharp with anger on my behalf. I drove to her apartment in downtown Seattle, still in my work clothes, the text replaying in my head like a bad song. Vanessa was waiting with a glass of wine and a hug, her living room cluttered with art supplies from her graphic design side hustle. Your mom said what she demanded, pacing as I read the message aloud. Worthless. After everything you've done, Lauren, they've been leeching off you for years. 3 years of free rent, free everything, and this is how she repays you. I knotted my throat tight, the anger mixing with a sick kind of clarity. I'm selling the house. I said the words feeling real for the first time. I'm leaving Seattle, maybe going to Austin. I can't keep doing this. Vanessa stopped pacing, her eyes wide. You're serious? Like actually doing it? I nodded again, pulling out my phone to show her the real estate listings I'd bookmarked. I'll call an agent tomorrow, get the house on the market fast. I've got savings and my job's remote friendly. I can transfer or find something new in Austin. She grinned, raising her wine glass. About damn time you put yourself first. We spent the next hour Googling Austin apartments, tech jobs, anything to make the plan feel solid. I wasn't just running away, I was building something new. Something mine. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom asking if I was picking up milk on my way home, like nothing had happened. I didn't reply. For the first time in years, I felt a spark of control, a plan taking shape. Tomorrow, I'd call the agent, start the process, and let Mom deal with the fallout. She wanted to call me a failure. She'd see what happened when I stopped playing her game. The next morning, I was on the phone with Allison Tate, a real estate agent Vanessa swore could sell my house fast. Allison's voice was all business, cutting through my fog as she asked about the $750,000 house, square footage upgrades, the works. Lauren. This place is a gem, she said, typing so fast I could hear her keyboard clacking. Seattle's market is hot. We can list it next week if you're ready. I was ready, more than ready, to cut the cord and leave Mom and Dad to figure out their own mess. I told her to come by tomorrow while my parents were at their weekly coffee with friends, so we could assess without them hovering. Hanging up, I felt a rush of clarity, like I was finally taking my life back, but then my phone buzzed with a message from Mom. Lauren, you seemed off last night. Everything okay? I stared at it, my stomach twisting. Her fake concern was so predictable, but it still stung. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop and started searching for tech jobs in Austin, filtering for project manager roles with salaries that could keep me afloat. My current job was flexible, but I wanted a clean break, a new city, a new start. Within an hour, I'd applied to 3 positions and scheduled a video interview with Justin Holt, a hiring manager at a tech startup in Austin. He'd seen my resume from a conference last year and emailed back fast, saying, Lauren, your experience is exactly what we need. It felt like the universe was finally on my side, but I knew the real fight was coming. Mom wasn't going to let me slip away without a scene. That evening, I went back to the house, timing it so I'd miss dinner and avoid Mom's questions. She was in the living room flipping through a magazine and looked up with that practiced, worried frown. Lauren, you're working too hard again. You didn't even eat with us, she said, her voice dripping with concern that didn't reach her eyes. I muttered something about deadlines and headed to my room, but her words from that text, worthless failure, kept echoing, making my skin crawl. The next day, while Mom and Dad were out, Allison came over, clipboard in hand, snapping photos of the kitchen, the hardwood floors, the backyard I'd paid to landscape. We'll price it to move fast, maybe $760,000 to start, she said, eyeing the stainless steel appliances I'd installed last year. I nodded, signing her contract. My heart racing with a mix of fear and relief. This was real. Now the house was going on the market and Mom and Dad had no idea. Back at work, I was halfway through a project plan when my assistant Brittany forwarded me an email from my bank flagged as urgent. It was a statement for a joint account I'd set up years ago for Mom's emergencies, which I'd forgotten about. My jaw dropped as I scanned the transactions. $5,000 withdrawn last month, transferred to an account I didn't recognize. I called the bank, my voice tight, and after 10 minutes of verification, they confirmed the money went to Courtney's account. Courtney, who Mom always said was struggling, even though Kyle's business was doing fine. I sat there stunned, my hands gripping the desk. Mom had taken my money to bail out Courtney without asking, without telling me. The betrayal hit harder than her text, like a knife twisting in my gut. All those years I'd paid for their groceries, their bills, their everything, and Mom was funneling my savings to her favorite daughter behind my back. I wanted to call her, scream, demand answers, but I knew she'd spin it, say it was a family need, or that I was overreacting. Instead, I forwarded the bank statement to Vanessa, who called me immediately. She did what she yelled, her voice crackling through my earbuds. "Lauren, this is next-level betrayal. Your mom's been playing you for years, and now she's stealing from you." I couldn't speak, just nodded like she could see me, the anger burning so hot it made my chest ache. "You're doing the right thing," Vanessa said. "Sell that house, get out. Let them deal with the fallout." That night, I stayed late at the office, avoiding home, finalizing my Austin job applications and emailing Allison to confirm the listing timeline. When I finally got back to the house, Dad was in the garage sanding some half-finished woodworking project, and he looked up with a frown. "Lauren, your mom's worried. You've been distant, not yourself," he said, setting down his sandpaper. I almost laughed. Distant, after Mom called me worthless and stole my money, but I kept my face neutral, shrugging. "Just busy with work, Dad," I replied, heading inside before he could push. Mom was in the kitchen chopping vegetables for tomorrow's dinner, and she tried again, her voice soft, manipulative. "Lauren, sweetheart, you know you can talk to me whatever's going on. We're family." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the act for what it was, a way to keep me in line, to keep me paying their bills. "I'm fine," I said, my tone flat, and went to my room, locking the door. Upstairs, I called Vanessa again, needing to hear her voice to stay grounded. "Allison's listing the house." Monday, I told her, pacing my bedroom, the same one I'd given up to Mom and Dad when they moved in, taking the smaller guest room instead. "I've got an interview with Justin in Austin tomorrow. He says the job's mine if I want it." Vanessa whooped, her excitement infectious. "You're killing it. Lauren, this is your escape plan, and it's perfect. We talked logistics, movers, apartments in Austin, how to keep Mom and Dad in the dark until the last minute." But as I hung up, I noticed an email notification on my laptop, one I hadn't seen before, from Allison. It was a draft of the listing with photos and a for sale sign mock-up, accidentally sent to my shared family email account, the one Mom still had access to. My stomach dropped. If Mom checked that email, she'd know everything. I deleted it from the shared inbox, my hands sweating, but the damage might already be done. Tomorrow was my Austin interview, and I had to keep moving forward, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Mom was about to catch on, and when she did, all hell was going to break loose. I walked into the house after work expecting to grab my laptop and head to Vanessa's, but Mom was waiting in the kitchen, arms crossed, her face tight with anger. Diane had seen the email from Allison about selling the $750,000 house. I knew it the second I saw her. "Lauren, what the hell is this about putting our home on the market?" she demanded, holding up her phone, the listing draft glaring on the screen. My stomach dropped, but I kept my voice steady, setting my bag on the counter. "It's my house, Mom. I'm selling it, and I'm moving to Austin." Her eyes widened, then narrowed, and she launched into her usual routine, tears welling up, voice shaking. "How could you do this to us, your own parents, after everything we've sacrificed for you?" I almost laughed at the hypocrisy, her words from that text, worthless failure, still raw in my mind, but I just stood there, refusing to let her guilt trip me again. Before I could respond, she was on the phone calling Courtney, her voice trembling like she was the victim. "Your sister's trying to throw us out. Come over. We need to talk sense into her." Within 20 minutes, Courtney and Kyle showed up, their kids sent to the backyard to play, while Dad shuffled in from the garage looking uncomfortable but saying nothing. We sat in the living room, Mom and Dad on the couch. Courtney and Kyle across from me like I was on trial. "Lauren, this is crazy." Courtney started, her voice soft but urgent, playing the peacemaker. "Selling the house out of nowhere. Where are Mom and Dad supposed to go?" I looked at her, then at Mom, who was dabbing her eyes with a tissue, and something snapped. "You want to talk about crazy?" I said, my voice low but sharp. "How about Mom taking $5,000 from my account, my money, to pay off your credit card debt without telling me?" Courtney's jaw dropped, her eyes darting to Mom. "What, Mom, is that true?" Diane froze, her tears stopping instantly, and for a second nobody spoke. Courtney turned back to me, her face pale. "Lauren, I swear I didn't know. She told me she was helping us out, not that it was your money." I believed her. Courtney wasn't cruel, just clueless always. Mom's favorite, shielded from the truth. But Mom recovered fast, her voice rising. "Lauren, you're twisting things. I was protecting the family, keeping us together, and now you're punishing us for one little mistake. One little mistake." I wanted to scream, to list every bill I'd paid, every sacrifice I'd made, but I kept my cool, pulling out my phone to show the bank statement I'd saved. $5,000 Mom transferred to Courtney's account last month. My savings, not yours. Kyle shifted uncomfortably, looking at Courtney, who was staring at Mom like she'd never seen her before. Dad finally spoke, his voice gruff. "Lauren, you're blowing this out of proportion. Family helps family, and you've always been the one with the money." His words hit like a slap, confirming what I'd suspected. He was in on it, or at least okay with it. I stood up, done with their excuses. "This isn't about helping family. It's about you using me, taking my money, calling me a failure behind my back, and expecting me to keep paying for your lives." Mom tried to interrupt, her voice shrill, but I cut her off. "The house goes on the market Monday, and you have 30 days to find a new place that's more than fair." Courtney reached for my arm, her eyes pleading. "Lauren, please, let's just talk this out. Mom and Dad can't afford to move right now." I pulled away, shaking my head. "They're adults, Courtney. They'll figure it out, just like I've been figuring out how to pay for everything for 3 years. Kyle, who'd been quiet, spoke up, his voice hesitant. "Lauren's got a point. She's been carrying a lot, and maybe it's time we step up." Mom shot him a glare, but he didn't back down, and for a second I felt a flicker of respect for him. I left them arguing and drove to Vanessa's, my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles hurt. She was waiting with takeout and a fierce hug, her apartment a safe haven from the chaos I'd just left. "They ganged up on you like that," she said, shaking her head as I recounted the fight. "Your mom's got some nerve, crying like she's the victim after stealing your money." I nodded, pulling out my phone to call Stephanie Larson, a lawyer a co-worker had recommended. Stephanie was calm, professional, confirming what I hoped. "The house is in your name alone, Lauren. You have every right to sell, and they have no legal claim to stay past the closing date." I thanked her, feeling a weight lift, and then checked my email. Justin from Austin had confirmed my job offer, a project manager role with a better salary than my current gig. "You're doing it," Vanessa said, grinning, handing me a soda. "You're actually getting out." Back at the house the next day, I avoided Mom and Dad slipping in while they were out to pack personal documents. Passport, bank statements, the deed to the house. I found a box of old photos in my closet, ones from high school, when I'd won a coding competition. Mom and Dad smiling in the background, but I remembered they'd left early for Courtney's cheerleading practice. The memory stung, but I pushed it aside, focusing on the present. Allison texted me the listing was live, and she'd scheduled an open house for Sunday. I'd booked a brunch reservation for Mom and Dad at a fancy downtown spot to keep them out of the way, my treat, but I knew they'd fight it. That evening, Mom cornered me in the kitchen, her voice low, almost threatening. "Lauren, you're making a huge mistake. Think about what this will do to our family." I didn't answer, just walked away, but as I reached my room, I noticed her phone on the counter buzzing with a new message. I glanced at it, not planning to snoop, But the preview caught my eye, a text from her friend Dennis saying, "Don't worry, Diane. That savings account you set up is safe. She'll never find it." My heart stopped. What savings account? Was Mom hiding something else? Something bigger than the $5,000? I grabbed my phone to text Vanessa, my hands shaking, knowing I was on the verge of uncovering a truth that could change everything. I couldn't sleep after seeing that text on Mom's phone about a secret savings account, so I spent the night digging through old bank records on my laptop, my heart racing with every click. By morning, I'd founded a hidden account under Diane's name, linked to our old joint emergency fund with $20,000 transferred from my savings over the past 2 years, all without my knowledge. My hands shook as I printed the statements, the betrayal hitting harder than her calling me a worthless failure or stealing $5,000 for Courtney. I drove home from Vanessa's, the papers burning a hole in my bag, ready to confront Mom and get answers. When I walked into the kitchen, Diane was sipping coffee, acting like everything was normal, but I slammed the statements on the counter. "What's this, Mom? $20,000 you siphoned from my account into some secret fund." Her cup froze halfway to her mouth, her face paling, and I knew I'd caught her. She tried to play it off, her voice trembling with fake confusion. "Lauren, you're misunderstanding. I was saving that for the family, for emergencies. You know how tight things have been." I cut her off, my voice steady but cold. "Emergencies, like paying off Courtney's debts behind my back? Or maybe for you and Dad to move near her like you've always wanted, while I keep paying for this $750,000 house." Dad walked in from the garage frowning, and before Mom could spin another lie, I turned to him. "Did you know about this, Dad? That she's been hiding $20,000 of my money?" Greg's eyes darted to Diane, and his silence said everything he knew. Maybe not the details, but enough to be complicit. "Lauren, calm down," he muttered, avoiding my gaze. "Your mom was just trying to plan ahead." Plan ahead? I felt like I'd been punched, the two people I'd sacrificed everything for treating me like a bank they could rob blind. I laid it all out, my voice rising despite my effort to stay calm, the statements spread across the counter like evidence in a trial. 3 years. Mom, Dad, I've paid $2,500 a month for the mortgage, $800 for groceries, $1,500 for your truck repairs. Not to mention the $5,000 you took for Courtney's debts. And you've been stashing $20,000 for yourselves. Diane's eyes filled with tears, her go-to move, but I wasn't falling for it. Courtney and Kyle arrived summoned by Mom's frantic text, and I didn't hold back. "Your mom's been using my money to fund her own secret account," I told Courtney, handing her a copy of the statement, "while I've been covering every bill she's been playing us both." Courtney's face crumpled as she read it, turning to Mom. "You said that money was from your savings. Why didn't you tell me it was Lauren's?" Diane stammered, "I was protecting you, sweetheart. You had enough to worry about." But Courtney shook her head, stepping closer to me. "Lauren, I had no idea. I thought she was helping us, not stealing from you." That was the moment I saw my sister clearly, not as Mom's golden child, but as someone else caught in Diane's web. Kyle nodded, his voice quiet but firm. "This isn't right, Diane. Lauren's been carrying you all, and you've been lying to everyone." Mom's tears turned to anger, her voice shrill. "You're turning my own daughter against me, Lauren, after all we've done for you, raising you, giving you everything." I laughed, a bitter sound that surprised even me. "Raising me. You missed my high school graduation for Courtney's baby shower, forgot my birthdays, but never missed a single one of her kids' recitals. I paid for my own college with loans while you bought Courtney's wedding dress. Don't talk to me about everything you've done." Greg tried to intervene, his voice gruff. "Lauren, you're tearing this family apart." But Courtney cut him off, her voice shaking. "No, Dad, she's not. Mom's been using her, and you let it happen." I walked away from the fight, my chest tight, and locked myself in my room, calling Allison to check on the house sale. She was upbeat, her voice a lifeline. "Lauren, we've got 6 offers already. Highest is $770,000 cash 20-day close. I told her to accept the highest, my decision final, the weight of it grounding me. Next, I emailed Justin in Austin signing the contract for the project manager job, a fresh start, with a salary that felt like freedom. Vanessa texted checking in, and I told her everything, her reply instant, "You're a badass." Lauren, keep going. I started packing, sorting through clothes, books, papers, keeping only what I'd need in Austin. Mom knocked on my door later, her voice soft, manipulative. "Lauren, please, let's talk. I didn't mean to hurt you. We can fix this." I didn't open the door, just kept packing, her words empty after years of lies. The open house was tomorrow, and I'd arranged for Mom and Dad to be out, but I knew they'd resist. Allison had staged the house perfectly, and I'd moved my essentials to Vanessa's to avoid any last-minute drama. That night, I found a letter slipped under my door, Diane's handwriting on the envelope, my name scrawled in her familiar cursive. I didn't open it, not yet, my emotions too raw from the confrontation. Was it an apology, another manipulation, or something worse? I tucked it into my bag, knowing I'd have to face whatever it said soon. As I lay in bed, my phone buzzed with a text from Courtney, her words simple but heavy. "I'm sorry, Lauren. I'm on your side now." It was the first time in years I felt like I had a sister, not a rival, but I wasn't sure what it meant for us going forward. The house was sold, my job in Austin was set, and I was days away from leaving Seattle, but that letter from Mom loomed like a shadow, its contents a mystery that could either break me or set me free for good. I sat on the floor of my nearly empty bedroom, the letter from Mom in my hands, my heart pounding as I tore it open, bracing for whatever Diane had cooked up this time. Her words were exactly what I expected, a masterclass in manipulation, apologizing for any pain she caused, claiming she only wanted to keep the family together, then slipping in a request for $10,000 to cover their new apartment's deposit. My blood boiled, her calling me a worthless failure, still fresh alongside the $20,000 she'd hidden and the $5,000 she took for Courtney. I wanted to rip the paper to pieces, call her, tell her exactly what I thought, but I didn't. I folded the letter, shoved it into a box, and called Allison to confirm the closing date for the $750,000 house. "We're set for tomorrow?" she said, her voice bright. $770,000 cash in hand. I hung up, feeling a surge of relief, knowing I was hours away from cutting Mom and Dad out of my life for good. The closing was quick, a blur of signatures at the title company's office, and when Allison handed me the check for $720,000 after fees and the mortgage payoff, I felt free for the first time in years. I drove to Vanessa's, my car packed with the last of my things, and we celebrated with pizza and wine, her cheering me on like a proud sister. "You did it, Lauren. You sold the house, you're out," she said, clinking her glass against mine. The next day, I hit the road for Austin, a 1,400-mile drive I'd planned as a solo journey to clear my head. Vanessa had wanted to come, but I needed this time alone, blasting music, stopping at gas stations, letting the miles wash away the weight of Seattle. When I pulled into Austin, my new apartment was waiting, a sleek one-bedroom downtown, smaller than my old house, but mine every inch paid for with my own choices. My first day at the new job was a whirlwind, meeting my team under Justin, who'd fast-tracked my hire. "Lauren, you're going to kill it here," he said, handing me a project brief. His confidence contagious. The work was challenging but exciting, managing app development for a startup, a fresh pace from my Seattle grind. That evening, I met Nathan, my neighbor, in the elevator, both of us juggling grocery bags. New in town, he asked, his smile easy, and we ended up chatting over coffee at the building's lounge, his tech job at a rival firm sparking an instant connection. For the first time, I wasn't looking over my shoulder, worrying about Mom's next demand or Dad's silent judgment. I was just me, Lauren, starting over. Courtney called a week later, her kids giggling in the background, and we talked like sisters for the first time in years. "Mom and Dad moved into a small place near us," she said, her voice cautious. "They're struggling, but Kyle and I are helping." "Not like you did, though." I appreciated her honesty, and we agreed to keep in touch video calls with her kids. Jordan Mackenzie, Alyssa becoming a bright spot in my week. But when she asked if I'd talk to Mom, I was clear. I'm done, Courtney. She crossed too many lines, and I'm not going back. She didn't push, and that respect, small as it was, meant everything. I'd sent Mom and Dad a single text after the closing stating the house was sold and they had to move out, no reply needed. They'd taken furniture I'd bought, even the kitchen mixer, but I let it go. Material things weren't worth the fight. 3 months into Austin, I was settling in my apartment, reflecting me books I loved, a few plants, no trace of anyone else's expectations. Nathan and I started grabbing dinner, our talks turning into late-night walks, nothing rushed, just real. One Sunday, my phone rang, Mom's number flashing on the screen. My stomach twisted, her letter's fake apology echoing, and I let it go to voicemail. She left a message, her voice shaky, asking to talk, saying they needed help with rent. I didn't call back, didn't text, didn't waver. I'd spent years being their ATM, their punching bag, their worthless failure, and I was done. Deleting the voicemail felt like shedding a skin. I'd outgrown my breath. Steady my heart. Calm. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. Looking back, selling that house wasn't just about the money, it was about reclaiming my life, proving to myself I wasn't the failure Mom claimed. Austin gave me a fresh start, a job I loved, a neighbor who might be more than a friend, and a sister I was finally getting to know. I'd carried my family for so long, but now I was carrying myself, and it felt right. If you've ever had to set boundaries with family, you know how hard it is, how it can tear you up, but also set you free. I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have confronted your parents or walked away like I did? Drop your thoughts. Hit that like button if this resonated, and subscribe for more real-life stories like mine. Share this with someone who needs to hear it's okay to put themselves first. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take care of you.